Here's a tutorial on getting this Faron Field South Poe, the clusterfuck Poe, and trying to make it less of a clusterfuck. I'll do a bunch of demonstration attempts at this just to try to get different enemy RNG and talk about how I'm approaching it. But first, just for the general approach, I'll ride just to the right of this little cliff. Backflip off Epona right as I pass the Poe. It's not like precise or anything, but you should hear the Poe aggro by, giggling and or making it apparent that it's aggroed by giggling and shaking its lantern a little bit as you pass. Then you start charging a midnight attack. I'll talk about more things regarding that in a moment. And then get the Poe. And if that happens, if you get hit while you're grabbing the Poe soul, you can run over towards Epona before the text comes up. So that's actually a good thing. So yeah, there are several enemies around here. There's the red bokoblin that starts off up here. The blue bokoblin that starts off over here. And then there are I think there are 4 or 5 Kargaroks in the whole area. Usually only 3 of them will have time to get over here. I don't know if I've ever had 3 at once, but I've definitely had 2 at once quite a few times. So there are a few things I want to talk about before doing more demo rounds. Number 1, in case you don't already know this, whenever you're dealing with a Poe that's high up off the ground, and this is on CSR general tips too, you want to charge after aggroing it, you want to charge the midnight attack and then turn on senses and then release the midnight attack right afterwards. And you want to turn on senses only when the Poe has gotten down near the ground within range of your charge attack. Because when a Poe is coming towards you and you turn on senses, it'll stop and do this animation saying hi or something. And then if it's one that lives far away, like way up high, it'll start going back home. Like it might start rising when you do that. So here, let me actually try to demonstrate that mistake. I'll start charging and then turn on senses early, and the Poe is not here. It takes a while to start coming down. Oh, here's an interesting one. And the Poe just slid. That's a Poe slide, and that just happens sometimes. If that happens, well, I've never really thought about that. I don't know if I've had it here before. There's nothing you can really do about that. I don't think it's really understood, but I guess what I would have done if I weren't talking, and we're actually trying to do this in a run, is just run over here and chase it over here, because eventually it'll get back up. But I'm not sure whether you'd really be able to aggro it when it's before it goes home. Anyway, so that's number 1, is doing this and then charging and then releasing. Number 2 is just, let me actually pause here because this is going to be useful. It's a very good idea to just generally be aware of all of the enemies, be aware of where they are, and use that knowledge to try to anticipate where Link will land at the end of the charge attack. Because that's half the battle. Sometimes you'll land in a really unpredictable... Well, sometimes the Link's trajectory will be hard to predict because it's hard to tell which enemies you'll target in what order. So as long as you're keeping track of that and trying to be aware of where Link will land, that'll make things easier. And then the other thing to know is if you knock down the Poe and then for whatever reason you can't get it, you can't get the soul before it starts getting up, so you're going to have to knock it down again. You actually always want to have senses on, which can be troublesome if there are enemies nearby swinging at you, because if you get hit, then that turns senses off. But if you... here, I can make a save state here. If you have senses off, then the Poe will go all the way back home and then come back. Because you can re-aggro it from here, even when you're not on Epona. But if you have senses on, the Poe will start going back and then attack. Actually, sometimes it will, even if you have senses on, it will still go all the way back. I think it just depends on where it lands and maybe where Link is in relation to it. So you want to be pretty close to it. But yeah, so in this case, I just have senses on, and yeah, I can get it right away. Did I get another slide? What the hell? Okay. Well, another thing that can happen, by the way, is the Poe can just, even without getting a slide like that, the Poe can just land on the side of this cliff, and you can't get it there. Link will always faceplant, so that is a bad thing. I don't know how to avoid that. but it's pretty rare. I feel like I've never had that happen in a run. Anyway, I'm going to do a few more example cases to try to showcase different enemy RNG and talk through how I would approach that with the different enemy RNG cases. And I'll even get the bug each time, just so that the enemies have a little more time to wander around and give me different patterns. But the overall approach is always the same. So I see this Boko, I might be targeting it. I see the, I forgot the name of it, the Kargarok. Okay, and basically the entire thing there was I saw the enemies that that were probably going to get hit by the charge attack, so I was aware that I was likely to be, like, the attack was likely to carry me somewhere pretty far away because of the Kargarok. Whenever you're targeting a Kargarok, Link is liable to just go any which way. So I was just ready for that and ready to dash back and get the Poe. That's pretty much all I had to think about for that one. Oops, put away the sword too late. That's another thing you can read about on VSR. Putting the sword away. Oh, I'll talk about that in a sec. Nice, I pressed Z too early. That's fine. Whee! Okay, so, oh, I love this Poe. Right. So that's something that can happen. I ended up not targeting the Poe somehow. I'm not really sure how that happened. It might have... I really don't know. But I just targeted the Kargs and ended up here and just went with it. What I was about to say before I realized that I was landing up here is that if I had landed down here, which was, I think, a lot more probable an outcome, then I would have just waited down here, senses off again, since the Poe was still way up high. Just waited for the Poe to come back down. But yeah, that was an interesting one. That has happened to me in runs before, but I can't say it's a common one. It's honestly usually not that chaotic. Usually it's like... Oh right, sorry, I was gonna say here. Things can make opponent turn, and like the more time you spend getting this bug, the more likely it is to happen. Like the Stallhounds can make opponent turn there, so that's something to be aware of as you're approaching this Poe, though it doesn't really affect the act of getting the Poe. Cool. Didn't hear any Kargs, so I feel like I'm fine. Yeah. The other thing is when you're catching the bug in the boomerang hitting Epona will also make her turn. And the amount she turns, I think, is just RNG, so be aware of that. When I'm catching the bug, I'm standing a little ways away so the boomerang doesn't hit her. Anyway, if you catch the bug quickly enough, then the Stallhounds won't do anything here. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit just so... Okay. Sorry, I got interrupted there. I was turning the camera a little bit just so it didn't like face this way so I couldn't see anything. I just didn't want it to get stuck. So there, knocking the Poe down was easy, but then the Kargarok joined the fray. And when you're far enough away from the Kargarok, it'll never attack, because, you know, it's too far away. So what I was basically trying to do there was, one other thing. When the Kargarok does get in range to attack, it will pretty much never attack. Like, that was about the fastest it can possibly attack when it gets there. Usually it'll, like, flap a little bit longer than that, but basically it's not an immediate thing. When the Kargarok catches up to you, you get hit. So what I tried to do was just dash around so the Kargarok was far enough away that it was going to have to get close enough to aggro, then jump attack the Poe. That also helped me to make sure that the Poe was the thing I was going to target when I hit L. But yeah, that basically didn't give the Kargarok enough time to hit me, even if it did attack basically as soon as it could. And part of the reason, by the way, that I was able to do that is because the charge attack on that attempt didn't carry me really far away. If it had, then I might not have had time to run around like that. Did I think I aggroed the bow. I think I got far enough. Okay, so I was aware of the Boko, knew that I might be going somewhere, but probably not too far because it wasn't a Cargarok, and then that was fine. I don't remember whether I said this earlier. You can aggro the Poe down here even when you're not on Epona. You don't actually need the height from Epona, so even if I had failed to aggro the Poe just then, I could have just stood down here with senses off for a little bit longer. All right. Oops. Nice. Epona's gonna turn. Ah, I got her right before she turned. Okay. Blue Boko is going to be involved. The red Boko might be. It's really hard to tell sometimes whether the red Boko is going to run off the cliff. Because it can, but sometimes it just stops up there and you can't really see it once you get close enough, so not really sure what it's up to. Yeah, there we go. Do a couple more. Just try to see if there's anything else worth talking about. That's not where I meant to throw the boomerang. Is that gonna work? Okay. Screwed that up. Alright, might see some Boko action. Aha. Aha! Okay. So, there were a couple of things that I could have done there. What I did do was kind of risky. Because, you know, the Boko could have not attacked immediately and could have knocked me out of the air. What I decided to do was just make sure I was targeting the Poe, and then go for it. I guess I could have knocked down the Boko. The thing is, it can get kind of... You don't have that long to get the Poe once it's knocked down. So if you try to knock down enemies that are nearby that could hit you, then it's kind of still a gamble, just like hoping they won't hit you is a gamble. Because in the time you're doing that, another enemy could come. You know, a Cargarok could show up and ruin your day. And then you will have just wasted that time. So that you kind of just have to play by ear. And, you know, it worked out that time. I could have gotten unlucky and gotten hit, but I feel like that's generally what I would do. That's what I did just then. See if I can get one more interesting case. Did that get the bug? Yeah, okay. By the way, you can pan the camera out while transforming there, if you like. Okay, so this one, nice. I didn't actually know the Cargarok was there. I'm not paying that much attention to the audio right now. I might have been able to hear it, but I wasn't really listening. I didn't know the Cargarok was there until I was running back from here towards the Poe. I knew the blue Boko was there, though, and I knew that I hadn't hit it. I registered that as I released the charge attack. So what I knew coming back here was that I was going to have to watch the blue Boko and see what was going on, and try to either do what I did last time and just go for it, or run around it somehow and try to like get it over here, or, you know, something. I ended up just going for it because the Boko was facing this way, and here. And it had just swung, so it was pretty safe to go for it. Like, I was at least going to make it through most of the animation without it swinging. Hello there. And, yeah, I couldn't remember whether Bokos were enemies that didn't attack when you're facing away from them, but I guess they do. Anyway, the Karg was there too, but I decided not to worry about the Karg, partially because I didn't really have much of a choice. Nice boost. But partially because it looked like it was still in its kind of flapping animation like that. It didn't look like it was about to attack, and then when it does attack, it has to like rear its head back, and you know, it looked like there was plenty of time there. Take that. Wrong one. That's I forgot what save state I loaded. Yeah, there's definitely no perfect solution to this. There's never a guarantee that things will go well, even if you handle things as best you can. Alright, the red Boko might be like behind me. Moved kind of a lot. Okay, easy. And the red Boko wasn't there. I keep saying one more. I'm gonna do one more. Final one. I hope something very interesting happens. Maybe if it's not very interesting, I'll intentionally let the Poe get up to just demonstrate that again. Okay, that's cool, so I might be going places. I'll make sure I'm targeting the Poe, and then the Boko was too far away to do anything, so fine. Alright, well, there was a demonstration at the beginning of the Poe getting up. That was kind of a weird case, because it got up all the way up there. Or actually, no, wait, it wasn't the Poe getting up, it was, I know I said one more, but it was missing the Poe. So here, I'll let the Poe get back up after I've knocked it down this time. Well, I say let. If it happens naturally, then that's even better for this demonstration, but see how it goes. Seems like a normal case, just go for it. The bird was too far away. So, oh, whoops. I'm gonna leave senses on, you know, I'm pretending I missed it. And just start charging and stay close, and the Poe aggroed again. I can't get it here. Oh, wow, okay. I think I was saying this at the beginning. When the Poe lands on a wall like that, if it were any higher up, I don't think I could have gotten it. But I guess it was just low enough that it worked. But anyway, that was the idea. I made sure to steer clear of the enemy. Actually, was the Karg still alive at that point? I don't remember. But I, you know, want to not get attacked so as to not get knocked out of senses like that. And then, you know, I just kept senses on, stayed close to the Poe, and it re-aggroed right away. Alright, I think that's just about it. Good luck.